In this how-to video, we're going to talk about the basic functions of the Proflame 1 and the Proflame 2 remotes. The silver is a Proflame 1 and the black is a Proflame 2. In newer models, they're both the same color, they'll both be black. You look at the top of the sticker, it will say there Proflame 1 or Proflame 2. Let's go ahead and talk about the basic functions of the Proflame 1 remote first. So when the remote is in the off position, you'll always see the temperature of the room at the top right-hand corner of your remote. That's just indicating to you what the temperature of the room is at that point. So go ahead and hit the power button. That will turn the fireplace on. And something to remember is that these remotes have a thermostat function, and they actually have 3 different settings within that thermostat function: off, on, and smart mode. So right now it's in the off position. As you can see in the top left-hand corner, it says off. If you hit the thermostat button, it'll rotate down to on. When it's in the on position, you can set the temperature of the room that you desire with the arrows. So right here you see the room temperature at the top again is 62. The desired setting, you can raise or lower that with the arrows up and down. So keep in mind that the remote itself is the actual thermostat for your fireplace. So wherever you set this remote or thermostat, that's where it's going to read. So if you have it in the back of the room, it may take a little time for that heat to travel to your thermostat. Or if you have it closer to the fireplace, that fireplace is going to shut on or off a lot faster. You also want to keep it within 20 feet of the fireplace and in line of sight, so that it can read properly. When you want your fireplace to run at a certain temperature in the thermostat setting, you simply touch the thermostat button. It will turn it to the on position, and you'll notice that another temperature indicator shows up here on the screen. You can raise and lower those numbers with your arrow. Basically like the same functions as your thermostat for your AC unit or your furnace. So you can raise or lower that temperature by simply hitting the arrows up and down. In the on position, once the fireplace has come to temperature or the room has come to temperature, the fireplace will shut down. And then once the room cools down, it'll call for heat, it'll turn the fireplace back on. If you hit the thermostat button again, it will take you to smart mode. Smart mode is the same kind of function as far as raising and lower the temperature of the room. You still use your arrows to set the temperature, but the unit will not turn off. The flames will keep running, and the flames will raise and lower based on how many BTUs it's giving it to try to keep your room at that desired temperature. And if you hit it one more time, it goes back to the off position, which is the manual function for your fireplace, which allows you manually to control the heat of the fireplace. When it's in the off position, you'll notice that the flame icon highlighted. Right now, the flame is in the high position. You can lower that flame by hitting the arrow, and you notice there it has a number of different settings, low to high. To switch between the fire and the fan, you'll hit the O button, which stands for options, and it will jump you over to the fan setting. Again, right now it's set at high, and you can raise and lower that by hitting your arrows up and down. Some fireplaces need to get hot enough before that fan function will work. So just make sure that you give it about 10 minutes, and then you'll be able to raise and lower the fan speed as desired. It's good to note that your remote has a lock function on it in case you have any little ones and you don't want them to be messing with the remote, turning your fireplace on and off. It's a very simple thing. You hit the bottom options button and the top arrow at the same time. And when you do that, you'll notice that the lock icon is on. And that way now, if they get a hold of this remote, they can't turn on or off the unit. It can also be set to that function while the remote is on, if you'd like as well. To turn it off, simply hit the options and the arrow at the same time, and then now you're back to regular operating function. If the batteries on your remote are running low, there'll be a low battery indicator on the screen here so that you'll know that you need to change those batteries out. If the batteries are low, the operating function of the thermostat or just the normal on and off, it may not work correctly. So it's good to make sure that you have fresh batteries in your remote at all times. Those are the basic functions for your Proflame 1 remote. So let's talk about the Proflame 2 remote. It basically has all the same functions as the Proflame 1. It just has a few extra options in it. So in the Proflame 2, it has still the flame icon, the fan icon, but then you'll also notice that it has a light icon, and some of them, depending on the unit that you have, your fireplace may have a dual burner. These functions are the same as the others. Arrows up and down to brighten or dim that light. And with the dual burner, when it's in that position, it turns that dual burner on or off. This also has an IPI and CPI function, which means your pilot light can either stay constant in the CPI position, or it can turn on when you hit the power button intermittently. When you have your remote in the off position, you will hit the bottom button, which is the O button, the options button. When you hit that button, it will show you IPI, which is intermittent pilot ignition. And if you hit the arrow up, it'll say CPI, constant pilot ignition. When you hit the arrow up, you'll hear a beep. And then you will hear inside your fireplace, the igniter trying to ignite that pilot light. You'll notice too that there's a snowflake icon in the right-hand corner here. That's indicating to you that your CPI, or your constant pilot ignition, is on. So remember that it shows a snowflake because it's usually used for the winter months. That CPI is going to help keep the inside of that firebox warm, and it's going to reduce the amount of condensation buildup in your unit. So it's a really good option to have, especially for the winter time. In the summertime, you can shut that off and you don't have to run the CPI. You can just use IPI if you'd like, so that you can turn your fireplace on every once in a while just to keep it running. Let's talk about the two most common problems that we get calls from our customers about with these remotes. Problem number one, you want to manually turn on the flames to your fireplace, but they won't come on. Often the customer wants to manually turn on their fireplace for the flames. The common problem that we find is that the thermostat setting on the remote is in the on position. When it's in the on position and the room temperature is higher than the thermostat setting, the unit will not turn on. So we want to make sure that the thermostat setting is to the off position so that you can manually control your fireplace. Problem two is that the remote stops controlling the fireplace. Often what has happened is the remote has become unpaired from the fireplace. So let me show you how to fix that. First thing you're going to want to do is locate your battery backup system. The battery backup system can be located in a number of different places depending on the fireplace that you have. So it could be either underneath your fireplace or it could be located on a wall mount somewhere. So first you're going to want to find where this battery backup system is. The intended use for the battery backup system is so that if you lose power, you can still run your fireplace and get heat from it regardless of that power outage. You're going to want to place 4 AA batteries into this battery backup box. You'll have to remove the top plate. It tells you which way the batteries go inside that battery backup system, and then reinstall that plate. And now you can use your fireplace without power. Once you found your battery backup system, you're going to find a small button, PRG. It's at the bottom right-hand corner of the battery backup. What you're going to want to do is make sure that your remote is in the off position. Again, you'll see the temperature of the room in the top right-hand corner, and that's all you should see. You're going to want to hit the PRG button. When you hit it, you'll hear a beep. And then you're going to want to hold down the power button on your Proflame 2 remote and then let it go, and you'll hear 3 beeps. Once you do that, hit the power button again to turn it off, and then you'll hit the power button again to turn it back on, and now your remote should be repaired with your fireplace. So those are the basic functions of the Proflame 1 and the Proflame 2 remotes, and the solutions to the two most common problems that we find. And I hope this video helped you. Thank you for watching the video.
Thanks for watching, everybody. If you like what you heard, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. And if there's any other questions or you guys have any more ideas for content, please hit us up in the comment section. Thanks again.
Let's talk about the two most common problems that we get, and the solutions to the most common problems that we find. And the two most common problems that we find with the solutions for them. And let's talk about the two most common solutions to the most common problems that we have. Two most common problems. Okay. Two most common problems that we get calls. Two most common problems. It's so easy, the common problem. Let's talk about the two most common problems that we get calls about from our customers with these remotes. Did that sound okay? That was terrible. Often the customer just wants to turn the flames on to the fireplace. The problem is, often the customer wants to turn the flame. If the temperature of the room is higher, let me start. If the temperature of the room, if the temperature of the room is high, then that, the fireplace will not turn on. Start. Oh my gosh. That's not what I wanted to say. Now I'm having a problem with this. This is ridiculous. Yeah. Cut. Oh man, I got caught. I've got to be careful what I say.
Say it again.
Intermittent.
Yeah.
Occasionally. I don't know.